Mode.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, maybe. I wanted to get started here today with our webinar, our Simplify Your SharePoint Experience webinar. I wanted to make sure everybody can hear me okay. Chris and anyone else out there, how do I sound? Do I sound all right?
Sounding good, loud and
Okay,
clear.
wonderful. Thank you. Well, cool. Well, I will do a little bit of an intro here for myself. My name is Heather Newman. I am CMO and co-founder of Content Panda. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for Office servers and services. I've been about 18 years in the Microsoft and partner ecosystem. I started off on the SharePoint marketing team back when things were called Tahoe. So I also run a company called Creative Maven, where we do virtual C-level strategy and support for folks. And also on the phone, I have my wonderful counterpart, Chris Casingena from Combined Knowledge. Chris, you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, my name's Chris. I work for a company called Combined Knowledge over in the United Kingdom, and we specialise in Office 365 training and support.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Chris is going to be on here with me today to answer questions and to chime in and all of that. So we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. I have some slides and then we're going to get into a demo. So I think one of the things that we have found with our partnership with Combined Knowledge and our other partner, MindSharp, who is a training company in the United States, we talk a lot about adoption and end user adoption. And we sort of find that, the time and effort required for adoption, if end users can get to work quickly and they can accomplish one or two of their tasks without a lot of learning, it really does spur adoption. We also have been finding that, a lot of people will stress executive leadership to drive adoption, but most of the time employers are not really driven by the C-level as much as they're driven by their peers. So if they see that someone else is doing it, someone else will start and the chain kind of prolongs pretty quickly. And so the key is to get end users inside of SharePoint and Office 365 using the tool as quickly as possible. So we want to get end users to perform actions in SharePoint and to get them learning and creating actions and finding information as quickly as possible. We also find that no adoption equals no value. So when you've introduced software into the company and you can't get it adopted, there's lots of questions about why do we spend money on this and where's the value here and that sort of thing. So with our combined companies, we really are looking at that adoption question and how people bring software into their business and how what we do adds that extra layer of security and information and education. I wanted to show the technology acceptance model. This is a theory about information systems where it kind of models how people come to use and accept a technology. So the model suggests that when users are presented with the technology, a number of factors kind of influence their decision about how they use it. And so one of the pieces here is the perceived usefulness. So people call this TAM, if you will, and you can look it up on the internet, and there's lots of really information, and it goes really deep into the science behind it. But when you're looking at perceived usefulness, it's kind of the degree to which a person, oh, there's my alerts from United Airlines. There you go. The degree which a person believes that using a particular system will enhance their performance. And then it goes into the next piece of it, which is the perceived ease of use. And that really is the degree to which a person believes that using a system would be free from effort. Now, the key words in this slide are really about belief. Do I believe it's going to be useful? And do I believe it's going to be easy? And so with end user adoption, not only is it great to bring in a tool like Content Panda with Support Plus content, but I also speak a lot about putting together end user adoption campaigns. And so a lot of the times people bring software in and they'll just, throw it out and push it out, and they won't have any sort of campaign or reasons why or how to use it or little videos. And we really believe that bringing a tool like Content Panda in, where you've got in-context and on-demand help, you're really serving your users well by also telling them why. Why is there a panda showing up on my screen? And so we do a lot of encouragement and work with our customers, making sure that when they bring our software into the mix, that they also are bringing a campaign into the mix as well to let people know that really all you have to do is tap the panda, and that will give you the help, support, and training content that you're looking for. Another slide that I really like, this is called the Diffusion of Innovations. And it's a theory that kind of explains the why and how and at what rate new ideas and technologies spread. There's a professor of communication studies. His name is Everett Rogers, and this actually was published in 1962, and it's in its 5th version at this point. So, Rogers says that the diffusion is a process by which some sort of innovation is communicated over time among folks in some big social system, right? So the origins of it are kind of all over the place and span multiple disciplines. And really, this applies to any sort of school of thought, any piece of software, all of that. So when we're putting together end user adoption campaigns, I show this slide a lot and talk to people about you really need to understand this curve because you have all of these 5 types of people in your organization. And when you're putting together an end user adoption campaign, you need to make sure that the innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and the laggards at the end, that they're all somebody from each of those segments are part of your tiger team or that champion team that you're putting together when you're pushing some piece of software or a new idea. I use this all the time, even when I'm doing marketing with clients, because anytime you're putting something new out into the world, this curve is on point. So as you can see, you've got your people in the front, the innovators. Those are the folks that are like going to jump on immediately and be like, yes, I'm in, right? And there's a lot of early adopters, but you've got your, the majority of the majority in your early and late. And then you've got your folks at the end who sit there with their arms crossed and say, I don't like this, I'm not going to participate. Well, the key is having somebody from each of these in your organization to help with end user adoption. And if you get the laggard, if you get the person at the end with their arms crossed who does not want to participate to be a part of that team, I guarantee they will be your champion. I've seen it a million times. So I think this is a really interesting slide when you're thinking about, ideas and software and bringing something new to the table. Always remembering that these 5 types are part of the mix. So I want to jump into some use cases. So when we're looking at help and training and support and really good content to help end users, these are the use cases that we're seeing with our customers. So digital transformation is a buzzword, 2 words, I guess, but it's also a really big deal right now because so many people are moving to the cloud. So there's a lot of migrations happening from on-premises to into Office 365 and moving into the cloud. And so people are looking for ways to digitally transform their businesses by the different workloads that they have. And so we find that when we're moving from one version to another, having something like Content Panda with Support Plus on both sides of that migration is really powerful. And we have some examples of that, which I'll speak to in a minute. Also, employee onboarding. I've been onboarded to many companies. They're sometimes called new hire training or NEO if you're working at Microsoft and other places. And you want that employee to have a really good experience and really be able to jump in and be productive. That's a huge thing. A lot of the times you're tossed into a situation, you don't really have your feet underneath you, and you're asked to use software that you may or may not have known how to use, or that you've said you know how to use, but you really don't, or it's been a while and you're a little rusty, right? So being able to give an employee a really good onboarding experience with maybe even a guided tour inside of SharePoint or whatever Office 365 app or product that you're using is really powerful. Training. So employee training, and Chris lives in this world every day. Combined Knowledge has a cadre of trainers who are amazing that work with their on-demand, and then MindSharp with in-person. And so I think giving people the opportunity to, one, self-service and train themselves is really powerful. And what we do with Content Panda in our relationship with Combined Knowledge and their Support Plus product is we not only have an out-of-the-box experience with Content Panda that has wonderful little bits and bobs of links and videos and all that, which I'll show you, but we also have the power of Combined Knowledge Support Plus inside what we're doing. And so you have the support of an entire learning management system, or LMS, at your fingertips, which I'll show you as well. And then just straight up end user support. I think people forget things. I know I do. I've lived and breathed SharePoint for 17, 18 years, and it's constantly changing, which kind of leads to the bottom one there. There's new features popping up in Office 365 all the time. And so things are moving around and shifting, and Microsoft is innovating at such a fast pace that sometimes it's hard to keep up, or there's something that you only do once in a while. And so having Content Panda sitting there, right there at your fingertips, that you can just tap the Panda, turn it on, look at what you need to do, take care of it, turn it back off, and be done and go about your day. That's how quickly I want to access information. I don't want to go and have to go out to a search engine and type in, how do I XYZ, and put a 2018 in front of it so I make sure that it's relevant and up to date, because things are changing so much, right? So I think the power of these use cases is that if you want to digitally transform your business, if you want to onboard employees, get them trained, make sure that they have the support that they need, and know that things are going to pop up all the time in Office 365. And how can you as a company be up to date on them? Well, we help you do that. So this is our cadre here of partners, and we've been working with Combined Knowledge for, about 5 years now. And with MindSharp and Combined Knowledge being closer together these days, which is awesome. We put together a learning path. So we're trying to address learning paths too. I think that's really important, because some people are visual, some people are oral, some people are kinesthetic and, like to put the rings on things. And then also there's also accessibility issues of how you get information to people who have those issues in the world as well. And so we're trying very hard to address all of those things. And with Combined Knowledge, you really get that on-demand experience, and little bits and bobs and chunks as you want it, but then huge, longer experiences with an actual trainer in video where you can, and those are called computer-based training, CBTs, where you can actually go through a whole module, go deep, and take a test. That's really exciting. With Content Panda, we're that quick hit. We're that single click learning, where you got one click and you get to the information you need, you can consume it, take care of business, and be on your merry way. And with MindSharp, they do more in-person training, where you want to go a little deeper, and they have wonderful things around admin and going deep into that content and things that you really want to learn, and also to prep for some of those tests that are out there so you can get certified in different things. So I think, the combination of us all working together on bringing solutions like this to the market is really powerful, and it's really exciting, and I love everybody that works at both the companies, so that's really fun too. Just a little bit about education on demand. Like I was saying, we've got Support Plus, which is embedded directly into Content Panda. And so those are that computer-based training that's updated in line along with the Office 365 update cycle. And so we've got Support Plus right inside of Content Panda. Then next, the offering from Combined Knowledge on Training Plus is that on-demand training that's premium HD videos, bringing that just-in-time training right to users at the desktop with a lot of expert information. And then Office Plus supports all the Office apps. And then obviously you have Content Panda, which is us, which brings all that stuff on demand and in context. And to go a little bit deeper into Combined Knowledge here. Training Plus has got all of the Combined Knowledge training courses that are delivered in high definition and then on demand. And it's actually an Office 365 app, or you can host it on your own servers. And we're leveraging some of this content as well inside of Content Panda, and we're going to be on our roadmap offering more and more and more of what Training Plus looks like inside. So that's really exciting. So you can see we've got instant training for a ton of apps, and that's a really great offering from Combined Knowledge. And then getting into Support Plus, this is what's inside of Content Panda. And so it's really that on-demand help tool for your software. It's set up with a lot of ways of step-by-step guides, how-tos, hints and tips, helps on top. And those have the CBTs, like I was saying, inside of them too. So that's over 200 modules designed to take a SharePoint user through everything that they need to do. And here we've got training courses, and this is a little bit of an eye chart, I believe, but you can look at this later. But you can see all of the different courses you can get to for training. You've got Power and End User, IT Pros and Admins, Devs, Business, SharePoint specific courses, Azure courses. So you've really got an in-depth education for every role. So we've got classroom training, online public training, in-house, on-site private training. Basically, you can get training and support and content any way you would ever want to. Combined Knowledge is a Nintex training partner as well. So there's all kinds of options for what you need for your business and the way people learn in your business, which is really exciting. So, kind of like I was saying with this slide, we really tailor content to suit what you need and building that end-to-end solution for you. So with the partnership between the three companies, we really find that we have kind of everything covered, and we are also keeping up with everything as quickly as humanly possible. So with that, I am going to jump into Content Panda and show a little demo. So let me grab my little demo site down here and pull it down into my screen and make sure everybody can see it. I think we are looking good, and I will give us a little zhuzh. There we go. And make sure that we're ready to go. So yeah, oh good. I just looked at my other screen on my phone, so we're doing well. So anyway, here we have a day in the life, someone going in and opening up their corporate intranet, and also potentially, say, a new employee. So we've got this pop-up here where we're pushing information out in front of a new employee and saying, hello, we need you to check this out, read this first. You can do this with Content Panda on any of your pages, on any of your sites. And so you have the control to set up these sorts of things for your business, which is really exciting. So I'm going to close that. And I do have Content Panda already turned on, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to turn it off. There you go. So what happens when we install Content Panda is you get this wonderful little tab over here. We call it the Panda tab. With the Panda tab, you just click or tap the Panda, and then you can turn on Help. And once you've turned on Help, what happens is that we get all kinds of pandas on the page, right? What we've done is we kind of light up the page with pandas. And what's great about that is that, say I want to share a site, but I'm a little nervous about it. I don't remember how to do it. Maybe I don't know about permissions and those sorts of things. Well, what I can do is click and tap a panda, and I can open up the share dialog. So this flyout here shows us that we've got some support links here. We tell people what it is. This is the share button. So we use the SharePoint vernacular. So we're trying to be learning all the time and giving folks the opportunity to learn. We also create a paragraph here of what exactly this is based on Microsoft's information on what a particular target is as well. With the support links, I'll click on those in just a second, but those are links out to that wonderful Support Plus content that I was speaking about. We also have a link. You can click a link here, and a link will open up into a secondary page. This is curated by Content Panda, and we go out and use really good information here. We also use a lot of MVP content. We also connect out to the Microsoft Tech community, and we're looking sort of for the best and most up-to-date content that we can to make sure people can find it. Some people like a link. Some people want to read an article, right? Some people want to watch a video. So some people you can, have, whoop, there we go. I don't want that too loud, but as you can see, we embed videos directly right into the dialogue. Now, this can be on YouTube. This can be on Vimeo. This can be on all of the different Microsoft products that stream video. Anything there that you want to put in as a video can go. A search. So we actually put the search bar in, and we've updated this from a past version where we put in the search terms for this. And so you can easily go out and see, okay, here are my search terms. Awesome. And then if you want to search yourself, find a little bit more information, you can absolutely do that. But we try and make it as easy as possible for someone to go out and search for the information that they're looking for. Now, I'll show you here on the share button, we've got two separate areas where we have content. So you can have the different experiences, and you can have one under another if you are, say, updating your own information in there and you want your corporate, say, governance or wikis or information out there. So we give the ability to people to have both of those packs outside there. I'm going to take you for a second into the legal tab. So in the legal tab, what happens when you go to legal is that, oh my goodness, Panda's already on and there's a flyout right here. Huh, what's that about? Well, the legal team, you know what they like? they like PDFs. They don't like Word documents. And so what we have done with this legal site and area is that we've made sure that that Panda tab is on. So when you go there, this pops up and gives that the end user a cue that, hey, if you are putting something into the legal document library, you need to convert it to PDF. You don't know how to convert it into a PDF? Well, isn't this great? I've just put a little video in here that shows you how. What's this? File naming policy. Oh yeah, I probably need to name my file something that's really good for my corporate intranet, right? This takes us right over to our governance space where it tells you exactly what you need to do. So with Content Panda, you can definitely give cues. You can give that quick one-click, single-click learning to people at their fingertips so that they definitely know what they're doing and they can make sure and get to the information they need and the information that you need them to know. And I am going to go over to Human Resources and show a little bit more off. So Human Resources is a really great example. A lot of people will get there and, oh, wow, it is my first time here. How about that? Okay, cool. So I'm going to check this out. So for demo purposes, we have these show up every time we come back to this page versus once the first time a user comes to the page. Well, as you can see right here, there's a next button. So I'm going to obviously click that. So with next, oh, okay, I can request time off on this page. Awesome. Oh, I wonder what's next. Cool. Oh, maybe I want to work healthy. Fantastic. Next. Oh, there's my benefits. Thanks for the prompt. New employee orientation. Here you go. So you have this opportunity with Content Panda to do a step-by-step to lead somebody through what they're doing. One of our customers in Boise, Idaho, St. Luke's Hospital, they have put together templates for themselves. And what they've done is they've added Content Panda into those templates. They have it site-wide over their entire installation. But they also, when they create a template and somebody creates a new one, basically they have Content Panda in there with custom content that they've created that leads someone through and how to create a template in the way that is their corporate structure. That's really exciting because then they're not calling IT, they're not calling the help desk, they're not putting in support tickets for things that are just easily known by a little 1, 2, 3 step-by-step walkthrough, right? So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to go back here to my first page. I'm going to go back to that share button for a second. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to click this support link and show everybody what that looks like. So we'll let that load up for a second. And what's really cool about this is that we're getting into Support Plus. And this is our partnership with Combined Knowledge. What's really great about this is that those different ways that you learn and that full-blown learning management system that I was talking about, or LMS, this is also at your fingertips. So you saw how easy it is to turn Content Panda on and off. You can put dialogues out if you want people to understand things for, say, a piece of corporate governance, or a step-by-step walkthrough, say for human resources, NEO sort of thing. The power of Combined Knowledge and Content Panda together is that we also have this whole set of information here for you. Now, as you can see, we're in the approving shares, right? If we go back to, I don't know how to share something, I'm worried, I have site permissions, all of that stuff. Well, not only are you learning about potentially how to share a site, but as you can see, this is overview of permissions, inheritance. What are the best practices? How do we share a site? What's the accessing of the security? How do I grant permissions? You can read this yourself. You don't need me to read it for you. But as you can see, there's a ton of information here about how to do this. Now, with here, you have steps. So, and these are written out steps. 1, do this, 2, do that, 3, and all of that sort of thing, right? So you can also go into the details area here. And you've got, not only do you have words, but you have pictures that actually show you what to do. Again, addressing different ways that people learn, right? This third button here is a video button. And this is really cool because this is learning that basically one could do this when you're, say, in a bullpen or a larger organization where you know, maybe you need your headphones on and stuff, but you can actually just, it shows you step by step how to do it without any words, right? which is kind of cool. And then finally, the CBTs that we were talking about, the computer-based training. This here is a full-on. Oop, good. I want to make sure it opened in the right screen for me. Awesome. So this has sound, as you can hear, which I will turn down for a second. But this goes into a whole video series and training that's really exciting and very cool. And again, it's all of those topics that you saw in the beginning. And also you have the wonderful combined knowledge trainers speaking at you, which I'll turn that back up for a second. And who doesn't love an English accent? That's all I have to say. So so they're all of this, which is pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, Heather, if you have to edit your own voice, you slightly lose the luster for your own accent.
Maybe it's music to my Michigander ears, but
I need to spend more time in the United States, I think.
Absolutely. Hey, do you want to say anything more about this? And you want to jump in and tell folks a little bit more about these, since we're on?
I certainly will. So I was actually sort of, Heather was making such a fantastic sort of story there, but I kind of had a few things that I thought maybe a little bit relevant earlier, but also relevant now.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things that Heather was saying when she referred to Tap the Panda earlier is actually something that becomes very much embedded in a business. There's one company that I worked with in the United Kingdom. They had a little scientist mascot, and they called this mascot Dr. Jim. And I said to them, why don't you put an email address behind this mascot and people can ask them questions?
Right.
And effectively, it became a thing in the business. They said, ask the doctor, and the doctor will answer your SharePoint questions. So Click Panda definitely would have resonance in the business. I know a lot of people will be saying, oh, if you don't know what you're doing, just click the Panda.
Yep.
So things psychologically have a big impact in a business. And also going back to when you were talking about Training Plus and the content, how up to date it is, just to give you a little bit of context, I'm literally editing some of the Training Plus content right now.
Okay.
And we're adding in a section on what to use and when. So it's like an overview of Office 365. So a lot of people are really confused about what apps to use and when. These are probably questions that Heather and Simeon are hearing as well. People are confused about how many apps there are and what apps to use in what circumstances. So we created about an hour-long video, try to educate people around that factor. And the other things that Content Panda have available in the system, the contextual pop-ups for new starters, legal documents, the step-by-step things, these are fantastic. I mean, you have fairly obvious buttons in the system, the promoted, but to really drive people's attention to certain aspects of the page, because if you give someone that SharePoint page with that much information, no matter how you try to tidy it up, it becomes a lot clearer when people are guided to it section by section. Sometimes you have to break down a SharePoint page to someone bit by bit just to get them, on my side before you can start to give them some of the more advanced stuff. So Content Panda really does help point people to the right stuff. And the fact it can be customized to show you the stuff that's industry specific is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. What I'll do, I'll pass back to Heather. Heather was going through these sort of CBT content. The CBT content is, like I say, a really fantastic experience. It's got combined knowledge as trainers, literally just walking you through these topics as if you were being taught face to face. And the nice thing about that is that, as Heather was saying, if you're in like a bull pit and you have a lot of people around you and you don't have headphones, you can watch the simple videos that will take you from start to finish. But if you wanted a proper learning-based experience with a proper lesson and some nice questions at the end to check that you've understood that content, it's a really, really nice solution for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yay. I was like, I need to pass it to you at some point, but I was trying to figure out where.
Yeah,
so good job.
I've delivered seminars where I've passed someone and instantly regretted it when they took, a ton of time away. So I thought I'd be nice and quick there for you, Heather.
You're a darling, and no regrets whatsoever, for sure. So that's great. Yeah, and thank you for that, because it's great to have both perspectives. And I love working with you all, and we work so well together and trying to do all the same things, right? So yeah, I love the computer-based training. I've taken it myself on a number of issues. We have as a company, we have Content Panda up, and I use it all the time. I also have it up on my Creative Maven site, which I use all the time, and I use it with my team. I often, when I'm doing events, I'll hire on, folks that are more on the logistics side of the world. But, we live and breathe and work in SharePoint and Office 365, and we're often doing those kind of events. And so having Content Panda there for them so they don't have to ask me a million times what's going on and how do I do this has been so wonderful. And it saved me, just as a business owner and a leader of a team, so much time. So I think it's fantastic. So anyway, you can see these wonderful CBTs that are really great. And you've got this learning check at the end, which is really cool too. So it's sort of like a little test for you to like test your knowledge, which I think is really fun as well, because you can just, check in, do I know the answer to this question, and check your answer and all of that. And then you can go back and, if you missed something or couldn't quite figure it out, you can just go back and take that section over and re-listen and relearn it, which is awesome. So yeah. So I feel like, let's see. So I think that's Support Plus. Anything about Support Plus you want to point out since I'm on this slide too, Chris?
Well, I'd probably go along the lines of Support Plus will basically field a lot of the support that you may need for your SharePoint deployments. I used to work in an IT service team, and when they SharePoint, it was havoc because they didn't train IT. I didn't have any idea what SharePoint was.
Right.
Great intro to SharePoint, by the way, Heather. When you don't know anything about it, it drops on your lap. But IT were expected to support it, and for a while we struggled, and SharePoint got a bit of a bad reputation, but it's because it was handled in a very bad way.
Right.
When I started working with Combined Knowledge, I started to put all of the knowledge that I myself and the other trainers at Combined Knowledge had learned over the years into this product. And my background is that I wanted anyone with any requirement from SharePoint to come into this tool and be able to help themselves. So it won't be logging a ticket with the service desk or the 5-day SLA. It will be, right, I want to know how to search for something. I'll go into the search bar, or I'll go into the search topic, I'll have a look. I can do a people search, I can find a colleague. And as you say, directly on the screen, you have your quick steps, which get most people back in action, the details for people who are quite unsure about where an icon is placed. You've got your video support for people who prefer to consume media. And then you've also got your CBT support for people who need to take it to the top. And from that mechanism, you've pretty much got your guaranteed success. And the delivery mechanism using Content Panda just really brings it to an audience. One of the problems that we did have with our tool is that although we popped it into the ribbon to try and get people's attention for support, it doesn't take you directly to a specific topic. It takes you to a general topic like libraries or lists, which was okay, but would have been a lot better. I find Content Panda really is like the best interface that I found, literally products, for actually getting support in the solution, because it's eye-catching, it's not too intrusive, and it gives you everything that you need directly contextually on the screen. And like I say, honestly, if anyone asked me, like, what could I do to improve Content Panda, I couldn't actually think of anything, but I've seen a couple of things today, like the contextual stuff, that I'm thinking, oh my goodness, wow. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, you can improve the product. I couldn't think you could do it, but you have.
Thank you.
Cool. And I'm sure if anyone asks, I certainly I'm very impressed with those contextual pop-ups. I'll actually start to poke people and say, look, Content Panda does this as well. You should really start looking into it.
Awesome. I'll give you your $50 check later. Dinner on me. No. Thank you. Yeah, that's something that's really kind of fun about. It's what's fun about owning a software business, right? And watching innovation happen all over the place. I've watched it for years with SharePoint and now Office 365, and I feel like when we started Content Panda, just a point of history, I guess, is that we had this idea. Simeon had this idea, and he asked me, what do you think? And I was like, yeah. And we figured out the name, Content Panda, which, came out of, we wanted an animal. And his 14-year-old daughter named it. He was asking her, what do you think? And we were looking at an owl and different things. And I think there was like Hover Bubble might have been a name at one point. And she was like, held up her phone. She's like, everybody likes pandas, Dad. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And he asked me, and I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, so it's one of those funny things where, when you're doing this sort of thing, you're also watching what other people are doing and how people learn. And I've been really impressed and influenced by some of the really great Microsoft MVPs in this space who have been doing end user adoption for a really long time, who I've become wonderful friends with. And Erica Tolley has spoke about this for years, Liz Sundet, Sarah Hasse. There's tons of people who are really, really strong with end user adoption and, looking at how different people learn and all the different ways that people can consume content and information. And I think what's really powerful is that we do hopefully keep it innovating, and we've really paid a lot of attention to the user interface, I believe, and making it easy to use and making it pretty and just making it that little single click, that one click of a panda to get you what you need. The other thing that we've done recently is that, so we've got the support here that you can click. And a lot of people have, say, a ticketing system, right? Or they have an email address or whatever it is that you get to get to your IT support. Sometimes there is a question that's going to need support that maybe doesn't get answered or is just 2 steps or whatever, and you need to put a ticket in, right? So you can go to a knowledge base and put in a link. You can fill in a form. You can put in support, basic, and this is, well, it's Thursday, not Friday, but anyway, so you can see like we're looking at options of how do we get the best experience in for end users, but also for administrators, and giving them the chance to put in the information that they need or that they would want, or that takes time out of their schedules answering these sorts of questions and into really big problems like or issues of like security and compliance and network things going down and all that sort of thing. So we'll really enjoy that too. And then we also, because we thought, other people see things different ways, we put this in as a way that you can see all the different training topics for the application, for on application training and support, and then what are the in context pieces on the page. And so that immediately flies to whatever the flyout is. And so again, continually addressing how do people learn, how do people find stuff, how do we snap into the ways that Microsoft is putting information out into the world. If you look at a lot of the different Office 365 and sites and stuff, they'll have that right-hand side panel that is the place where you get information. So we're working on addressing those kinds of things as well. And then we do support different languages in that we have sort of the flyouts themselves. You can change the languages of like the different paragraphs and stuff. I know that between Combined Knowledge and ourselves that we're working with different clients on multi-language support for actual content, and definitely would put that on the roadmap if that was needed from a client. But I like the fact that you can pick sort of you can change the wrappers, if you will, inside of the different panels. And then you have a whole set of ways that you can go in and actually change the content. People ask me about that all the time. They're like, is it okay if we change the content? And also, like you were saying with that company, can you change the panda? Now, we say yes to that, of course, that, your brand is your brand. And a lot of people are like, oh, we've spent all this money on branding and all of that. And so we definitely always want to say yes to, what a customer wants in that way, within reason, of course. But so we've had folks change the panda to say their corporate logo or a question mark or something like that. And a lot of the times they will find that they go back to the panda because the panda, it's a panda. It's not something that's usual or normal. A logo a lot of the times will just blend back in and sort of become part of that brand again, and then people will forget it's there. And so like what you were saying, Chris, about click the panda, tap the panda, like that's,
Yeah.
I know that IT support people, basically if they have like a chat bot or if they have a window or whatever and somebody's talking to them, a lot of the times they'll be like, hey, did you click the panda? did you tap the panda? And they're like, oh right, yeah, and a lot of the times they'll go back and they're like, thanks, I don't need you anymore, and that's it. So we've done campaigns inside of companies as well with tap the panda, click the panda, just and you can do all kinds of wonderful things with a panda bear, of course, with when we've got stickers and hats and all that kind of fun stuff that we try to get into the hands of our people, so that they remember those things, which is kind of fun.
Well, those campaigns are a lot of fun, and they stick in a lot of people's memories.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
to stick on the back of someone's laptop.
Yeah.
What's that panda? It's like, oh, that's our help and support.
Yep.
And I you mean if let's say as an example, if our company logo was strewn about the page, I don't think it means as much as something that has like a little bit of charisma and fun behind it.
Yeah.
So I can see what you say. Oh, we'll swap that out for our logo and then immediately swap back. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be very reserved about changing from the panda. I like how you offer a few different types of pandas. I think you have a red panda, don't you?
Yes.
But
yeah.
Quite traditional. Although red panda is my favourite animal, I think there's something quite sort of, it really draws your eye in. The black and white panda, the giant panda is good.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's quite fun. So, I'm going to show you all something else, and sort of maybe it's not necessarily a sneak peek, but it's something that we're working on, and we're working hand in hand with Combined Knowledge with the Support Plus content. And so I'm going to bring this down. Hey, look at this. This is Teams. Very exciting. And so you can see, so this, I'm actually popping into Creative Maven because I'm showing you that I use it on something else too. So this is my live Creative Maven site. And so when I go in here, I've got all my different teams. I was working on the, diversity and inclusion track at SharePoint conference. I've got partnership. I'm working on SharePoint Saturday Los Angeles with a bunch of other wonderful folks on my committee. And so this is our team site. So as you can see, Content Panda is right over here, and you can turn it on. And you get pandas, which is really exciting. So we are working hand in hand with Combined Knowledge to bring all the wonderful content they have from Support Plus into all the different Office apps. And so here you can see we've got, certain things lit up here with Teams and telling you what it is. Same experience, all of that sort of thing. And this is in the online versions of all the different apps. And we will be coming out with a little bit more of this soon, and I'm very excited about making sure that we can go across all of the different apps, all of the different styles of sites that Microsoft is putting out into the world. And this is really going to be awesome, I think, especially because with Teams and Planner and some of the other new apps, it's, there's so much. Like, you see it, Chris, and like you're probably like, holy cats, I'm drinking from a fire hose, right?
They're really taking off as well, aren't they? A lot of people that say, "Oh, we're moving to Teams," and I'm kind of thinking, if someone dived into Microsoft Teams, it's just like there's quite a lot going on in it, and properly, you need to have that context. So having Content Panda in Microsoft Teams makes a huge amount of sense for a lot of people who are just pushing people to adopt it, because you want to make sure that they feel comfortable in the product.
Yeah, and also to understand how Teams and SharePoint, work together as well. That people are like, do I have a Teams or do I have a SharePoint? It's like, no. But Teams is this beautiful new way to use all the functionality of SharePoint, and they're improving that all the time. I think the power of Teams and Planner, and then having your SharePoint, oh my God, it's so great. And I just started using it and have been speaking about it as well. And I keep forcing everybody else to use it as well. So, because I think it's really awesome and a really great way to do things. So, so just to address, and we'll go into sort of questions and answers here in just a second, but the questions that I get a lot of the time, and I'll actually look at our little dealio here to see if we've got some questions from folks, but one of the things I get asked is, can you change the content? Yes, absolutely. There is a content editor that you can go in and I'll put this here for a second and change the content, and you can get in there and get things set up, and you can get all kinds of different ways to put in content, like I showed you, like different links and all of that. You can have links with no video. You can have just the top title and a little definition. So it's really up to you on how you want to put the content out there to your folks. And let me get that out of there. And so that's kind of exciting. And so that's really fun. And then also being able to change, colors and all of that, and change where the panda sits, all of that sort of thing. That's all really exciting too. So I feel like that's, and that might be, I might go deeper into that into another webinar where I show actually, how we change content and how you update and curate your own content, but that's definitely there for folks. People also ask about pricing. And so we price an annual contract per user per month. And if you want to get into a pricing discussion, happy to do that and show you where we sit. It's like, so up from one user to a 5,000 people is one price, and then we get into other pricing after that. And we have combined pricing with Combined Knowledge and Support Press, so that all comes together as needed. And I don't know, is there anything else? Maybe, and I'm going to go into I'm going to show 2 case study slides, and then we're going to get into more questions. Anything else on you, Chris?
Well, I don't know. It's the techie in me, because I know through Content Panda that you can put it into SharePoint as an app, but I wasn't aware of any solution for Teams. I'm just wondering if you bought one Content Panda is sort of available for Teams, how would you sort of set that up and install it?
Well, that is a question that I will answer soon. Coming soon. I showed you a little roadmap. I might get in trouble from my guys that I actually showed that, but yeah, we're addressing how that goes in, and definitely going to be launching that soon. So I'm not going to answer that question quite yet, but it's coming. So
yeah, it's so cool. I'm quite excited about that now.
Well, that's kind of why I did it. So there we go. But yeah, we again, kind of with addressing the different ways people learn, looking at functionality of the technology of, how do we get the product into as many hands as possible in the many different ways as possible, and knowing that you can do things in Office 365 online. Some of it that, there's a different experience for Teams and for Teams and OneNote and other things that are different from the online experience, from the on-premises experience, right? And so we're working on addressing those types of things as well as Microsoft addresses them and gives us the hooks and gives us the ways to put our solution into the different apps that are out there. So a little bit of a sneak peek coming soon. So yeah. For sure. Let me see. So I'm going to go and click my little slide action here. So yeah, this was a quote from Pamela. I don't know if you worked with Pamela and St. Luke's at all on their stuff, Chris. Did you?
I haven't myself.
Okay. Cool.
Mine shop may have been involved with.
Yeah.
Their side.
Yeah, Zoe and I worked and Simeon on this together, and they're an amazing client. Pamela's amazing, and they basically, went in and put Content Panda in across all of their different areas of the business. And as I was saying before, they're using it as in their templates when sites are rolled out on how to educate people on how to do that, which is a really cool use case. On getting things done quickly and without having to go back to your support and IT team to actually ask those questions. And hopefully, it's like if you can get that, say 20% of those top questions answered by Content Panda, I mean, imagine how much time somebody has back in their day to do the other things that they need to be doing, right? So that's really exciting. Yeah. We also had another client who is a global science and engineering firm on the East Coast. We cut their help desk tickets literally by 77%. I love saying literally like you all do. It makes me super happy. Anyway, what happened was we did an A/B test, and this is sort of the migration thing that I was talking about earlier, is where we went in and they were like, oh, we're moving from one version to another. We'll wait to put Content Panda in afterwards to get everybody trained and all that stuff. And we're like, well, yeah, okay. But think about this. Let's do an A/B test, and let's have you roll it out to, and with any software, rolling things out, you never want to boil the ocean, right? You want to roll out in phases, right? So let's do a test case of, say, your, the HR area or marketing area. And we always recommend this with anybody anyway, but so they did an A/B test where they they made the changes, and then they had Content Panda in before. And so people knew to click the panda, tap the panda, and then they had a section where they just made the changes and didn't have Content Panda. And literally, we counted help desk support tickets and really looked at them about not only what was just put in, but what they were about. And the ones that didn't have Content Panda, I mean, it was like hundreds more that literally started, where did that go? I can't find ... right? And then when we had the folks that were used to Content Panda, and then it went over to the next, it was technical questions or password resets, that sort of thing. Those where did that go, I can't find question just completely went away. So that was really cool, and a really great use case for when you're, moving to the cloud, digitally transformation inside of your company and all of that sort of thing. So that was pretty cool.
That figure actually resonates quite well with my experience as well, because when I worked on the service desk, we literally increased our ticket numbers by 3/4 launching. So that's sort of like your 75% mark. As you can see, that figure is actually quite universal for some reason.
I know, it's kind of funny. Yeah, so it's kind of fun. So anyway, this is us. This is how to get a hold of us, and I'm going to add some combined knowledge in there as well, but you can get to combined knowledge through us at Content Panda, combined-knowledge.com and contentpanda.com to contact us, and you can easily schedule a demo. We have a demo scheduler up in the right-hand corner of our website where you can grab time with either myself or Simeon. And the folks at Combined Knowledge are also always ready to do demos and talk to people about stuff. But kind of at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is really bring the most comprehensive help, support, training, and education experience to end users and also administrators to allow you to get the information that you want out to your end users so that they can self-service, they can single-click learn, and they can be a little bit happier. I think when you're productive and know what you're doing and can find information, you're just happier. I feel like it makes me want to dance, when I can find something and take care of it myself. Nobody likes feeling, stupid or like they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of people don't like to ask for help, honestly, or they've asked IT 15 times about something because you've forgotten it and don't remember where your bookmark is and they can't remember what to do, all that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, with the combined power of Support Plus and Content Panda and then MindSharp, all we want you to do is put your hands up in the air and dance it out. So hopefully that's what we're bringing to the table for our customers. So I don't know, are there any other questions that you have, Chris? And I'll look in here and see if there's anything else that we want to address on the call. We have a few minutes left.
I think I'm okay on my account. I thought I'm quite well acquainted with the Content Panda solution, but I've definitely seen some new features today that I hadn't seen on a previous demonstration. I thought, wow, those
awesome.
Contextual really cool.
Cool. And a couple of things. We will be at SharePoint Saturday, Honolulu. I know, tough life, as everyone always says to me, but myself,
myself, get invited to that one.
Sorry, myself and Brian Alderman, who is also an MVP and just so deeply knowledgeable from MindSharp. He and I are both speaking there. That's coming up on June 14th, which is a Friday because they do a SharePoint Saturday on Friday in Hawaii. I know there's some big Microsoft events coming up. We've got Microsoft Inspire, which is a big partner event. That's coming up in Vegas the third week of July, which a lot of people are going to. I'll also be at, and I believe Brian will be too, at New York, SharePoint Saturday, New York, which is coming up at the end of July, I believe on the 28th. And then if you're in the Los Angeles area, we're hosting SharePoint Saturday Los Angeles That will be on August 11th, which I'm super excited about. Brian is going to do this amazing thing where SharePoint Saturday Charlotte is happening as well. So we've got, coast to coast in the United States. We've got Los Angeles and Charlotte happening. And Brian is going to speak at both of them, which is really exciting. So we're going to have to do a where's Brian, track Brian, will he make it across the country to see if he'll make it for our last session. So I'm really excited about
Brian
that.
On Facebook, yes. His listings of all of his travel flights just for a single month is mind-blowing.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. I know. We're always comparing notes and how does one travel better, which is kind of exciting and fun. So yeah, so we'll have a lot of fun at both of those events. So if you haven't signed up for either one and you're on one of the coasts and want to get to that, those are registrations open for both of those. And then a lot of us, went to the SharePoint conference in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and that was really fun. Some really amazing announcements, SharePoint Spaces, the new mixed reality and 3D web part stuff. There's wonderful announcements and that keep rolling about Teams and Planner, making lists in SharePoint sites got a big update. And so there's lots of really great stuff going on in the community and from Microsoft. So if you are interested in those sorts of things, I highly recommend you checking out the Microsoft technical community. The Microsoft tech community is really where all the things are being posted about the products. And then the Office 365 roadmap. That's the other place where a lot of stuff is being put on, what's in process, what's rolling out, when it's rolling out, all that sort of thing. So great, wonderful resources for you to tap into if you want to keep up on what's coming and all the different events that are happening and that sort of thing. So anyway, yeah, that's it. I think I usually address most of the questions but anyway, and so I think I addressed most of the ones that we had, unless there's any more. But with that, I think we might close it off and say thank you and good morning, good evening, and good night. And Chris, is there anything else from you? And if not, we'll have
Thank you all very much for. Thank you all very much for joining the webinar today. Hopefully, it's been really educational, entertaining, and I think some of the case studies were also really good at the end as well, just to sort of see the feedback that comes from these sort of deployments that has the help of Content Panda as well. So I've really enjoyed myself, and thank you very much for having me on the session today, Heather.
You bet, Chris. Thank you for joining. You're such a darling. Yay. So yeah, and like Chris is saying, the case studies and white papers, so we have St. Luke's is up on our site. You can take that and give it a read. We've got some other ones. Some customers don't like to put their names out into the world, and we respect that, of course. So, but we've got a few case studies up there, and we also have, I did a adoption series that was a bunch of ebooks, and also there's a checklist up there. So if you are creating an end user adoption campaign, there's a checklist. There's all kinds of resources about all of that stuff. Please go take them down and check them out and use them. And definitely, I've got presentations up on SlideShare under Heather Newman, or Hedda, Hedda Newman, Newman, that are all about end user adoption and leveraging content from the Microsoft Fast Track program. So Fast Track, I believe, .microsoft.com is another place to look for that stuff. So yeah, we're always available to ask questions and resources, and I put my Microsoft MVP hat on for that and love connecting people. And so feel free to connect with us on social media and all of that, and we push out a lot of content there as well and do a lot of real fun things with Combined Knowledge. We did a couple of years ago, we did a get ready for summer push of some fun swag out and stuff. And so we've got lots of cool things coming that we're going to do jointly together. Really excited about that. So with that, I will stop talking because I could talk all day, and say thank you everybody for coming today. And we'll post this up. And if you were here, you will get a recording of it. Those who didn't show up but registered will get a recording, and we'll let everybody see what we're doing. So again, thank you. Have a great day. And I just put my hands up and I'm dancing a little. Okay. All right. Bye.
Yes, Heather. Bye.
Cheers.